Hi, I'm Eric Dewey from the Socially Awkward Studios, Science and Beer, and Her Majesty's Secret Podcast, and you're listening to another proud presentation of the Four-Eyed Radio Network. Check out more shows at foureyedradio.com.
Hey listeners, Eric here, also known as Trekkie B47, from the Starfleet Escape Podcast and the Ranger Command Power Hour. The more phenomenal episode you're about to listen to is brought to you by Raven Designs, illustration and design that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, visit ravencruise.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Appropriately Inappropriate. Nancy is out of town on another vacation. It must be good to be rich and not famous, as we all know Nancy is. She's on vacation with the family for a while. It is me in the studio with a very, very funny guest this week. Richie Martin is with us, not to be confused with Ricky Martin. This guy is way gayer than Ricky Martin.
Super gay.
All
homo.
So Richie, welcome. Welcome into the studio. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited
Thanks
to be
for
getting
letting
this
me
on.
Thanks for letting me invite myself onto your podcast.
I was gonna have you on regardless,
That's
bro.
beautiful.
Richie is a comedian, really funny dude, really good dude, and thank God Nancy's not here because he's a sports fan too. And dude, I never get to talk about sports out here because Nancy doesn't know shit.
We can do some of that.
Good.
We can do it.
And then he also runs a crazy awesome show at Stand Up Scottsdale in the Taffer'd Room on Friday and Saturday nights, which I know some of you have been to. Everybody needs to go to them because they're awesome. And they're way more intimate than most shows that you're going to get.
That's a great perspective on
Yeah,
it.
it is.
I mean, it's a different experience than you're going to get in a bigger room or in the main room, you know. I mean, Stand Up Scottsdale runs a lot of good shows regardless of which room you're in, but, you know, we run something that's obviously a lot more locally influenced, and you get to see a lot of different personalities come in and a lot of talented people, and we wanna, you know, we have a crazy opportunity to build something amazing and to kind of like grow the culture in Phoenix, and that's what we want to do, but we can't do it without people being there, you know.
So let's start from the beginning of it all, and then we'll work into the show and all the kinds of stuff that you go through, because people just get tickets to the show and they go. You know, they just assume that that's as easy as it is, but I know running a show is a lot more stressful, and there's a lot of things that go into it. So we'll get to that
Sure.
as we go along this path of Richie. Okay, Richie, so where did it all begin for you?
Where did it all begin? It all began, I was a big speech and debate nerd in high school.
No, were you?
Yeah.
Like the debate team?
Yeah, well, it wasn't much of a team. It was like
It was just you mouthing off the teachers?
It was me and my buddy, and there were a few other kids that were on the team, but yeah, we were big speech and debate nerds among other things. But like we just used to wreck kids, and I miss it. I kind of miss it sometimes. We got some kid to admit that the Constitution was unconstitutional. Which, like, if you can put someone in a hole like that, it feels great.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, I used to do like storytelling and impromptu speaking and all that.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you know, you doing comedy, like, you meet a lot of people who are like, oh, I want to do stand-up comedy so badly. You know, I want to do it. But the one thing that holds so many people back is like, there's that little voice that you have to have. You know, you got to have that little bit of ego to put yourself on stage where people are paying money or like spending time out of their day to say like, I'm going to grab the mic and you're going to listen to me.
Yeah. I've never heard that put that way before, is that you got to have an ego to go about it.
I mean, at least to start, you know, because like once you start doing it, like it's a humbling, it's always, I mean, a lot of times it's a humbling experience and it needs to be if you're going to grow, right?
Yeah.
But to start, you don't know that. So just to start, to put yourself up on stage before you know what the work is, before you know any of that, you gotta have a little bit of that ego. I mean, a healthy dose.
Yeah.
You know, not too much. Nobody wants a cocky first timer.
How old were you when you first started? We'll let you cough it out. It's all right. Take your time.
Excuse me. It's only been a couple of years.
Okay.
So I was 22.
And you're 24?
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude, you're a young buck.
I know. Thank God for my youth.
Yeah, man.
Wasting all of it.
So, all right. So, started when you were 22. Did you? How do I phrase this? I mean, I don't want to phrase it the same way that it typically gets phrased. Is like,
Sure.
what were your influences, that kind of shit. But what started it all that brought your attention to stand-up comedy? I mean, you debated in high school. You loved the
Yeah.
speech and debate, but comedy is a different realm.
Yeah.
It's now not just persuading people with an idea. It's doing that along with making them laugh at the same time.
I mean, it's still communicating an idea to the audience, and no matter what you're doing in front of an audience, whether it's music or it's debate or it's stand up, you're presenting something to an audience, and your goal is to have them connect with it, right? So, I mean, I've always been a little bit of a ham. Always trying to steal the limelight in some way, and I don't know, like I write too. That's what I do. So I've always had a lot of creative influences in my life.
All right.
I played like 8 different instruments when I was a kid.
Jeez.
Not like well at all.
Yeah.
Just like I went through like 8 different instruments. I never stuck with any of them. I kind of wish I did, but I was always I've always been creatively influenced a little bit, and I think even, if you're not great at being creative, I think everyone should have a creative outlet. It makes for you got to look at things in a different way, and it forces you to think about some things that you might not normally think about. And it's a good exercise. It's a good way to flex the brain muscle in a way that you're just, if you sit at a desk job all day, you're not forced to do.
Sounds awful.
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
Jobs.
Wouldn't know about that though.
Oh, so where are you from?
Originally, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. Born in Austin, raised in San Antonio.
Austin's a great city.
Austin is a wonderful city.
San Antonio sucks.
That's your opinion.
I only say that because I hate the Spurs, and I know you love them.
Yeah, I mean, if you grew up there too, you would also love it.
No, they're so boring.
Dude, don't even do that. Just like set up and here's the pitch. I mean, like if winning and playing basketball the right way is boring,
Yeah, that's horrible. That's really
Here's
boring.
the thing: is like everyone hates on like, oh, ESPN just wants to talk about LeBron, just wants to talk about Kobe. Then you know what? A team comes out and they play the epitome of solid fundamental team basketball. It's fast. It's crazy. Dude, Ginobili. People hate Ginobili.
Yeah.
You gotta watch that dude play some ball, man.
He's a flopper.
The dude, okay, you know what? First of all, he's not nearly as bad as he used to be because he was a terrible flopper, and I hated it too because I have to listen to people like you give me shit about it. But dude, the guy, like, I don't know. There's just something amazing. Like those 3 guys have been doing it, Tim, Tony, and Manu, for like 10 years together now. They have more playoff wins than Kareem, Worthy, and Magic.
That's crazy.
Which is not, that's not a small feat.
Yeah.
Those guys did it for a long time.
I have respect for them. I mean, they're the epitome of a team. I mean, they don't just bring in a super free agent and try and win just off of that. They plug holes.
Yeah.
And everybody on that team is a role player, including Parker and Duncan and Ginobili. They all play a role on that
They all
team.
do what they're supposed to do,
It's
man.
not Miami who just packs LeBron, Wade, and if you want to even include Chris Bosh at this point still, I mean, I guess, but that guy's such a faggot.
I mean, you can get into the you can get into the minutia if you want, but Chris Bosh does a lot to open up things for the other two. But
he is a 6'11" shooting guard. He's a glorified Channing Frye.
I'm not crazy about what he's done with his game. They asked him, when did you start? Why'd you start shooting threes? And he said, when I found out you got an extra point for him.
Stupid idiot.
And I'm like,
God.
yo, Chris Bosh, it took you 8 years of your career to figure out a 3-pointer was worth one more point than a 2-pointer.
That's 1 year at Georgia Tech for you.
You're an idiot. You are an idiot. Chris Bosh.
He moved out there because he got tired of bumping into people. He's such a pussy when it comes to playing.
I mean, I just know that I played sports in high school and then never again. So I'm usually not so inclined to call professional athletes pussies.
Okay, well, I am, Richie.
That's fine.
And I got to tell you.
Look, man, you got audiences to take care of here. You got people to satisfy. You can call whoever you want, whatever you want. But I got a reputation to uphold, all right? Okay? If there's anyone out there right now and you think LeBron's a bitch, you're fucking wrong, and you're a bitch. Dude, I can't stand it. I can't stand people who hate LeBron. Do you hate LeBron?
No.
I can't stand people who hate LeBron.
Yeah, I guess.
It doesn't make the worst thing the guy ever did was the decision.
Uh-huh.
And the worst thing that the guy ever did also resulted in $1 million donation, right? Like in professional sports, like you have people beating women and doing drugs and cheating on their wives and just being felonious motherfuckers in general.
Yeah.
And
I love sports.
Dude, I love sports. You know, LeBron just like he just does the damn thing, and like people want to see, people want to see someone fall.
Have you ever had a good and a bad experience with a professional athlete?
When I worked at the Apple store, Steve Nash came in one time, and of course, like all my buddies there knew I was a Spurs fan, and this was like when the Suns and the Spurs were like in the middle of their shit, and Steve Nash was still balling. So one of my buddies was helping out Steve Nash with the purchase. And, he's finishing up, and he says to Steve Nash, he says, "Hey, Steve," and he points at me, and he says, "That guy over there is a Spurs fan. You should totally mess with him on your way out." So Steve looks at him, he's like, "All right." So he gets his shit. I'm just standing in the front of the store. It's like, it's pretty slow. So I see Steve Nash start to walk out from the back, and he makes eye contact with me, and he holds it all the way from the back of the store, all the way up to the front of the store. And as he gets close, he points at me and says, "Hey, you, I heard you were a Spurs fan. Stay out of my town." and dead serious, because if you've ever seen any of the videos with Steve Nash, he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what to do. But he's walking out like he's like got his finger pointed at me. And I'm just like, I have no idea what to do right now. Steve Nash just told me to get out of his fucking town.
You leave, bro.
And then he was like, just kidding, but seriously. And then he left. And that was it. I got to meet George Hill, who now plays for the Pacers.
Yeah, that's cool.
He was kind of a dick. He
Was
wasn't
he?
a dick. He just like, I was just the asshole teenager at the Apple store. Like, "What's up, George Hill? Like, if you need anything, you let me know. Like, I got all the facts, bro. You need headphones. I got all the facts." And he just didn't give a shit.
Damn it.
He didn't give a shit.
Yeah, sometimes, though, it's funny because you'll catch him on just the wrong time. Mm-hmm. And then for the rest of your life, they're an asshole,
Yeah.
That guy's such an asshole, dude. He didn't even pay attention to me when I said what's up.
I know.
But then, like, 15 minutes later, he's probably, like, at the hospital cheering kids up and
Yeah.
signing autographs for everybody.
Whatever. Dwight Howard was cool. Tim Duncan came in, and I would have lost my shit. He was there. I worked literally like 14 days in a row.
Yeah.
And then he was there the first day that I didn't work after 14 days in a row. Who else? LeBron came in one time when he was on the Cavs.
Yeah.
And he bought literally every set of beats that we had for his teammates and like team staff.
Damn.
Spent like $5,000 because he felt like it.
Yeah.
Just
And
the
that's
drop
how
of the hat.
Dr. Dre made $1 billion.
That's how Dr. Dre made a few $1 billion.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, who knows what they're gonna do with
I don't know.
that.
You're a big music guy, right?
Yeah.
Listen to a lot of music.
I
I
do.
don't. We talked
Sure.
about it last night.
Yeah, I know.
I just don't.
Disappointed.
Dr. Dre
Drizzy.
made all right. I mean, he did real well with rap, I guess.
Yeah.
From making his own songs, but being a producer.
Yeah.
And then making headphones.
Yeah.
That's made him
Naturally.
way more money. He became Jewish and just made a shitload of money. He's the behind the scenes music guy.
Well, I mean, the guy created a brand for himself, right? Through his music. He's just like he's this legendary dude now, and people have been waiting for his album to drop forever. But you got that brand, and then they just build on it with these headphones. You pop a name on them, and you make them look cool, and all the athletes have them, and all the celebrities have them. Then, of course you're gonna You know, it was like what Apple did with the white headphones, man. Like, it's not like they were a great product. They were just an iconic product.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to comedy.
Yeah.
I can't talk about music that long.
Fine,
I just
man.
don't know
It's cool.
about it.
Don't worry about it.
Well, what's your favorite band, music, whatever?
I listen to a lot of rap and hip hop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, but I'm very diverse within there a little bit. I don't know if I could name a favorite band or a favorite artist at the moment.
Do you pull any comedy from music?
You know what? I kind of like, as far as comedy goes, I talk about whatever happens to pop into my head and whatever I feel like I can make funny. I did one joke about music where I thought it would be funny if your life had a soundtrack that you could only hear. But then, like, all of a sudden, really gay shit started playing whenever, like, your roommate walked back into the room. Like, Elton John would start playing, and, like, the soundtrack to your life would make you start questioning what's going on. You know, and, like, it would be really scary if you were just, like, driving down the road and then Don't Fear the Reaper started playing. And you were like, am I about to die or something?
Yeah, right?
Like, do I need to pull over?
I like that idea, too. That's pretty good.
I never did anything with it, though.
Give it a shot again, man.
Yeah, I got to
bring it up tonight. Fuck it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
For our respectful audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to subject them to that.
So, all right. Let's get into to the show that you put on.
Sure.
It was funny when it happened, because I think the week before, 2 weeks before, I was at the club hanging out, and there's nobody in that side room.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, why don't we just grab 4 comics and just barnstorm the room and just fuck it if nobody's there.
Just
get stage time and do something. And but it was just me sitting in there. I was like, cool. And then, like, a week later or something, you put out this notice of, like, got the show going. Let me know if you want in to get up there. So how did all of it come about?
Well, so my buddy Brian Valona and I, and for a long time, Brian Rhodes and Brian Valona started this show in the side room. They started a show called The Secret Show, which is the worst fucking name for a show ever. It's a secret show. You would love for your show to not be a secret.
Yeah.
So yeah, they started this show probably about almost 3 years back, and then I started doing comedy because I went to ASU with Valona. And he knew I wanted to get into it, so he hit me up, and I started doing open mics. And through the graciousness of their hearts, they brought me onto the show. And I honestly don't know why they did that, but I'm super grateful they did. Rhodes moved to California. We would do a show like once every other week or once a month. And then Howard, the owner of the club, said he was looking for someone to do stuff every weekend. So we said, fuck it, let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And shit, man, it's awesome. I mean, like, really, like I was saying earlier, like, for having this vision, I almost moved to New York, and that wasn't really for comedy. That was kind of for work too. But like, I want to make. There's these guys out in Denver called the Grawlix. And Ben Roy is the one guy I've met from that group. He's going to be here in August at Stand Up Scottsdale, 3rd weekend of the month. Seriously, come fucking check him out because the dude is unreal. But these guys blew up the Denver comedy scene just because they started putting on good shows. They got a bunch of like-minded people together to do shows, and they started making just videos and pumping out tons of really good content. And they blew Denver up to the point that now Denver is one of the most respected comedy scenes in the country.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want to do that for Arizona, Like, it's at a point now where it's definitely growing, but it needs to mature now. It really needs to mature. And it needs to, it's in this kind of amorphous stage where you don't really know what it is. It doesn't really have an identity beyond, like, all of the drama that happens within Phoenix, which is stupid, which is bullshit. Fuck that. Fuck
I steer
that.
clear of any of that
I am not about that. I'm like, tell funny jokes. If you don't like people, tell them and hash it out.
Yeah.
And if you can't hash it out, then shut the fuck up about it and stop trying to make a big production out of it. I hate it, man.
It sounds like it.
I hate the negativity that's wrapped up within something that is nothing but enjoyment. Like, none of us are getting paid for this shit, man. Like, come out, do your work, and don't fuck with other people's work. Like, enjoy the company of these great people who come out and respect the time that you are given and be gracious for the opportunities that are presented. And if you can't do that, then you honestly don't deserve to be doing comedy. I mean, like, really, the ground rule is just, like, do your work and don't be an asshole. And there's people who can't satisfy that requirement. And it's just shitty, dude.
Yeah. Sounds like something recent might have happened.
No, I mean, you know what? After only running this show for 6 weeks and bringing people from out of town, like, you see a lot of parts of comedy that you didn't know existed. And, like, I had to bump somebody for the first time ever off the show. I bumped our first weekend. I bumped my good friend Eric Subcheck off the show.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I fucking
Which wasn't your call either, really.
I mean, I'm not going to explain it. I'm not going to go into everything, but like,
but you and I both know.
Yeah,
whatever.
The situation necessitated that, like, he was the guy who got the axe, and he was so fucking cool about it, which I'm so happy for, because I felt so fucking bad about it. But, you know, it's those things that, you know, you're just starting out, like, you don't know that you're going to have to do that, you know, and you know, just dealing with people who are thinking about the business side of it. And, you know, I appreciate the business side of it, but I really, you know, I enjoy the creative part of it and, like, getting on stage and working shit out and doing the show. Just not to complain or anything, because it's I feel so lucky to have the show, but it's just it's work in the sense that, you know, it's not all fun anymore. Like, there's a lot of, you know, you gotta when you're dealing with headliners, like, you gotta act in a business like manner, and that's not always the way that I'm thinking. So it should be, but, you know, these guys are doing business too, and they're gonna get what they can, and if you're gonna leave stuff out there for them to take, then they're going to take.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll get used to it. I mean, it's a business you learn. Separating the business from, it's all comedy, so it's all under one umbrella, but it's separating the business from the stage, I guess. Because when you're up on stage, you know the boundaries and what you can and can't do it at a club. So now it's just you having fun, making people laugh. That's your primetime job. It's like sports. I mean, you play the game.
It's game night.
Right. When you're on stage, that's your game.
Yeah.
When you're off stage, it's back to business. And a lot of times, it's totally different. And it's a world you didn't know existed, because when you first start out, it's like, I'm just going to this mic, I'm doing it, and I'm out.
It's not even a thought in your mind.
Yeah. Once you start doing it for money and you're getting paid, and on your side, you're running a show too, it's business. It's making sure each thing hits and people are getting paid the way they're supposed to, and the show's running on time schedules, this, that, and the other. Getting them in hotels and all that kind of shit.
All of it.
A lot goes into it that people don't know about it. That's why I'm saying, when people come to shows, they just buy a ticket, they sit down, they laugh, they get the fuck out of the club.
Yeah.
It's not, for a comic, it's a lot more than that. There's a big production that goes into this thing.
Yeah, man.
What name, I know, but name for the people who, like the headliners you brought in, and who's coming up, and what people can expect.
So our first weekend, we had a guy named Zoltan Kazas come in. Zoltan was fucking awesome.
He was great,
I think you would back that up. He'll be back in first weekend of September, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Dude,
Zoltan was amazing. Like, literally could not have asked for a better first weekend to start out with than this dude. We've had Joe Dosh come out from San Diego. Also, he was great. This weekend we have Robert Zapata. We had a gentleman named Dante come in from Last Comic Standing. We had Josh Nosser come in. And there's been a couple others in there.
Hormos.
We had Hormos Rashidi from LA. He was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool guy.
And honestly, all of them are amazing dudes, and they've been great guys to work with, because every show that we try to put on isn't a banger. You know, it's one of the things that we're working hard for is consistency and building an audience and building an audience that we can rely on to fill seats every week. So it's great having guys come in who are really just like happy to be there and have the experience. It makes it a lot easier for us. It takes a lot of the pressure off.
I felt Robert was like that last night.
Yeah, man. He was a go with
cool.
the flow dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a super cool dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like honestly, like it's not personal, but I don't know. We don't know any of these people, so it's like it's a roll of the dice that, you know, we hope we're not going to get someone who's going to be like have crazy expectations that the room is going to be full for every show, because it's not. It's not at all.
You're getting there, man. It's a brand new thing.
Yeah. We know it's work. It's building that audience and trying to figure out, you know, when you don't have a budget to spend on marketing, it's like, what can you do to get people in seats?
Yeah.
Plus, you know, we're getting to the point where we're going to differentiate the show a little bit. You know, we're going to bring back the joke off. I don't know if you're ever part of those.
I was never part of it, but I love it.
Yeah. And then there's someone we're going to try and get some other shows in. So there's a comedian out here named Genevieve Rice. She runs a show called The Snark Show. You know, we want to talk to her and see if we can get that to be part of it. But just different stuff. So people come into the club, you know, they you know, there's almost no reason. Like if you're at the club and you don't know either comedian, I really don't know why someone would pick our show versus the show in the main room. And people do, and thank God that they do for whatever reason. But I mean, really, like it's the side room, right? Which has connotations of like a B room or like a lesser in some way than what's going on in the main room. Mm-hmm. And obviously, in some ways, that's true. You know, the headliner in the main room is someone who's got more credits and has done more work typically than the guys that we're pulling in. So that's the hard part, because we like the product that we put out there, and we feel like it's a really good product. So we just got to figure it out.
Yeah, and the Stand Up Scottsdale is a lot of the people that go don't know the comics that are playing in either room.
Yeah.
They're just going because let's go to a comedy show. It's in Old Town, and then we'll go get drinks somewhere else afterwards or before, and we'll just stop in and see a show. So, I mean, I'm sitting out there on the patio, and these people are coming in, and Cam, who runs the door, is like, "Which show are you here to see?" And damn near 95% of them are like, "I don't know, whatever."
The headliner.
Yeah.
Like, of course you're here to see the headliner, you idiot.
Like, we have two shows. Which one? The 7:30? No, we have two 7:30s. Which one?
See, that's why I want to do something with the shows every week. Because then they can say, "Oh, you can be in, you know, the main room, or you can stick around for the joke off." Oh, what's the joke off? Oh, it's a one-on-one battle with jokes.
Yeah.
And someone's gonna be like, "Oh, that sounds kind of cool." Like, I also wanna decorate the stage a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to make it look cool. I feel like there's something we could do back there to make it
for
look,
for sure.
You know, because I don't like. We have like a our sign is scotch taped. It's like a piece of printer paper with our logo on it, scotch taped over a huge sign that just says "Stand Up Scottsdale," and it's the shittiest looking thing ever. It's the worst.
Yeah, like at the Comedy Store, they do on Tuesday nights. They run an open mic, and then right after the open mic's done, they do a roast battle. And it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's with. I mean, it's like features, so it's not a bunch of headliners, but paid regulars.
Hormones was talking about that.
Yeah, and so that packs the room, and people stay like for the roast battle, and then that goes off, and it's like celebrities come in and big time judges and that kind of shit. So I mean, it would totally work. It's just another draw to bring people in.
Mm-hmm.
Because this show isn't an open mic. It's a real legit paid show, and it's funny.
Oh, it's real.
And it's well put together, and it's just not, the name just isn't out there yet.
Thank you.
But it is. I mean, you go and you pay $10, or if you buy online, it's $8, right? And you see a legitimate comedy show that you will see in the main room at Stand Up Scottsdale, at Tempe Improv,
or you know what?
At Stand Up Live.
Just go like us on Facebook, and we'll let you into that bitch for free.
There you go.
I'm serious.
There you go.
Literally just say Facebook out the door, and we'll let you in.
That's it.
Just out of the graciousness of your heart, like the fucking page, and don't scam us out of $8.
No shit.
You fuckers.
So who's coming? This comes out Sunday. So
Yeah.
who's coming up this coming weekend?
This coming weekend is going to be... Give me a moment and I'll tell you.
Sure.
I believe we have a gentleman named TK Kelly. I think that's who it is.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to try and move some things around because TK has some stuff going on, and we're happy to move some... Let me see. Yeah. So it's either going to be him or Connor McSpadden or TBA. It's probably TBA, to be completely honest with you guys.
And then the following weekend is a buddy of mine that you've got headlining, Johnny LaQuasto.
Yep, I'm excited for that.
And,
I've heard a lot of great things.
Oh, dude, he's so funny.
Yeah.
And he's bringing Brian Moses with him to feature, who's hilarious dude, comedy store guy.
Awesome.
But, and then that Friday, so the 13th, Friday the 13th. Ooh.
Whoa.
Everybody just go to all these shows, but go to those two. I'm going to be
all
on
four
them.
of them.
Richie's on them. And LaQuasto's, he's such a cool dude. Too.
Your mama going to be there, too.
Dolph Ziggler. You know that guy? Fuck, me neither. I don't watch wrestling.
Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah.
You know who we do have? I'm sorry to cut you off. You know who we do have coming in?
Who?
I think I've told you this. Goldberg from the Mighty
Yes,
Ducks.
dude.
Sean Weiss. I think his name is Sean Weiss. It's coming in with a guy named with a dude named Garrett Gonzalez, who I've been dealing with, and is a pleasure to deal with. Let me say, awesome guy. They're super pumped to come in. I think that weekend's going to be a banger.
Oh, dude.
Because that's not going to be...
My son's going to be waiting outside.
Dude, that's not going to be a hard show to sell tickets for.
No.
For Goldberg.
Goldberg, the goalie? Fuck no. That's awesome.
But yeah, back to your wrestler.
Oh, so I guess he's like not an old, but a former heavyweight champion, WWE.
Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah.
Sure.
But he lives in Scottsdale. And so I think he's in town on the 13th and wants to do that show too.
Really?
Yeah, because he's been doing stand-up.
Really?
He's done a show with LaQuasto, and I just talked to him 2 days ago or something. So,
yeah, you should hit him up and so we can confirm that.
Yeah,
so we can make sure that we have enough.
No, he's going to. I'm gonna.
No.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, would you?
So yeah, those shows are going to be dope. And everybody that's a listener out in Arizona, from Tucson to Flagstaff, I don't give a fuck. Get into Scottsdale.
Throw us a fucking bone here. Come on.
Go to these shows.
Dying.
So what's it like, man, getting these things booked? What's the behind the scenes that nobody knows about in running a show?
Comedians are flaky is pretty much the behind the scenes. No, man, I mean, we're lucky in that we have a really solid group of people that we can go to pretty much every weekend, and we want to expand it. You know, we want to bust it out. But here's the thing about comedy in Arizona is that you don't really have to work for stage time, and you don't really have to respect the stage all that much to keep getting stage time, because there are just so many places to go. It's hard for us to want to say, you know, you need to hold this show to a higher standard or you know, treat us this way or that way. Not that we're entitled to fucking anything at all.
Why?
But
you're running. Well,
we're not entitled to anything. I mean, we need to create an atmosphere that in an environment that provides some sort of incentive to treat it that way. Because people aren't just going to do that out of the kindness of their hearts. You know, some people are, some people do. But I mean, why am I going to, it's like me booking somebody. Like, why, you're not entitled to anything. At the same time, like, I'm not entitled to anything just because I had, like, we're not exchanging favors here. Like, it's a business deal. When I go to someone and I say, hey, do you want to be on this show? That's a business thing, right? Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people treat it like they're doing you a favor by being on the show, and a lot of people who book shows act like they're doing you a favor by booking you on their show. And that's kind of like, really, that's the whole behind the scenes, because it's not that hard to hit people up and, like, find people to take stage time, right? It's like the personalities that can make it a little bit difficult sometimes, and, like, it's like, oh, well, if I can't do 2 shows, then it's not worth it to me. And it's like, well, then don't do bummer. don't do the fucking show.
Yeah.
Like, that's the shittiest part of it, is that, like, I am forced to see sides to people who I really respect and enjoy working with, but I don't want to see. Like, I don't want to hear people say that shit, like, because I'm not going to think the same of you after you tell me that it's not worth it to you if you're not going to do 2 shows.
Yeah, that's horseshit, man.
Like, fuck off. All right? If you're listening, I'm coming for you. I'm going to give you a people's elbow.
So you reach out to the people wherever they are and say, we run the show.
For headliners, yeah. So here's how headliners have worked is fucking our first couple weeks, Howard threw us a couple names. He connected us with a gentleman named Ricardo Rocha, who lives out in L.A. now. Ricardo gave us a few names. Zoltan from the first weekend threw us a few guys. He actually threw us a lot of guys. He said we got TK, Connor McSpadden, Johnny LaQuasto. Those are all because of Zoltan gave us a good.
I thought I gave you LaQuasto.
Did you?
Motherfucker. Did he email you?
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost 100% sure Zoltan.
All right, whatever. I'm gonna talk to him.
Well, he just said a bunch of good things to a bunch of people, and they hit us up.
Okay.
So you could be right. I'm sorry.
Goddamn right. We'll clear it up when he gets here.
Turning red right now.
I gave LaQuasto that goddamn email.
and then I read a Reddit post, or I posted something on Reddit, like looking for headliners in LA, and I met this dude who couldn't come out and headline, but now he's just throwing his names, and that's a big help too. So, you just kind of get it wherever you can and hope that you're getting good people, which we have so far.
Yeah,
so.
You definitely have, man. There hasn't been any misses yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, you've been getting damn good guys.
That's true.
And yeah, so again,
we did have a group walk out last week.
I was there, I think.
Were you there?
Yeah.
This group of old
the women?
old Scottsdale women.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, there was a queen bitch, right? Yeah. Because she was walking like 5 feet in front of, like, it was like she's Muslim, like, because she was the one walking ahead of the pack.
Yeah, she's the David Koresh of the group.
Yeah, exactly. And as she was walking out, she, like, makes eye contact with me and just starts, like, shaking her head.
They were
and
horseshit from the
all
beginning.
she said as she walked out was, disappointed.
Of course.
Disappointed.
They weren't going to laugh at anything. Like, it was horrifying with them in there.
It was bad. I mean, the other couple tables in there were having a really good time.
Yeah.
But here's my whole thing is, like, you can take that stance that, like, that was just a table full of bitches, which, like, in all reality, it was. But from a comedian standpoint, you want to be like, what could I have done?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I always, I always feel like you're not ever going to get anything out of just writing them off and saying it was a group of bitches. Like, that doesn't do anything for you, right? Besides maybe, like, keep your self-esteem in check, like, keep your ego in check a little bit, not damage it. Yeah. But, like, the real constructive thing to do is say, like, they might have been a table of fucking bitches, but what could I have done to make their experience a little bit better? And I mean, they were fucked from the get-go, because the one lady came to us and, like, looking around the room, and she's like, we feel like we may have gotten gypped a little bit because the other room sounds way more fun right now. And I'm like, well, first of all, gypped is a racial slur, so check yourself. Second of all, sit the fuck down.
Yeah. Nah, they were awful. Fuck them.
Yeah, and I offered them to go in the main room, and they didn't even want to do that. They were just like, no, we're leaving.
Screw it. Yeah, they're just stupid.
Like, all right, you guys suck.
But you get that. Dude, I've never been in a room that doesn't have at least one walkout.
Yeah.
And that shit just comes with the territory. But what is your best night of comedy and your worst night of comedy?
So my best night of comedy was I got to open up for this improv group called Dawson's Queef. Have you not heard of them? It's an improv group. They're called Dawson's Queef. They actually have a show coming out called Dawson's Queef, and it's a play on Dawson's Creek, right? So it's an improv group, all dudes, but the dudes also play the girls in the show. These guys are awesome. Michael Scarston, Sam Lowy, Michael Margettis, who fucking cracks me up. And then a couple other guys, Justin. I can't remember Justin's last name.
Guarini?
No, that's the wrong Justin. We're thinking the wrong Justin. Regardless, they're hilarious. But yeah, I got to open for them, and I did like 25 minutes, and just like the most solid 20 or. The whole thing was solid. Like any 5 minutes out of that set would have been the best 5 minutes that I had done.
Yeah.
And it was 25 minutes of that. And like granted, like it was all people in my age and similar backgrounds,
right.
which makes it fun, right? Like because they're gonna connect no matter what.
Uh-huh.
But I had a fucking great time, and like I had a few people like recognize me after that. Obviously, like. That's whatever, but it was just cool. It was cool because I know it was like I know it wasn't just like me in my head. Like people like way after the fact remembered it and like quoted parts of it. So it was cool. It was cool. And the worst night of comedy was I just lost my job and I had like a poem written. I was like super like pissed and super drunk one night. It's like I wrote like a funny poem. It wasn't like a sad, like depressed poem, but it was still like it was like in a rhyme scheme. And I read it on stage after the worst like 3 minutes I've ever done. I was like, you know what'll fucking get him is this poem I wrote. So I pulled that out and I had it on my phone and I read it and no one laughed at any part of it at all.
I'm laughing at the worst.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It was just like the most self-degrading humor without the humor. It was just like me shitting on myself for 2.5 minutes, and nobody enjoyed it. And I remember the look the host gave me as I came off the stage, like completely confirmed that yes, that was as bad as you thought it was. It was so bad.
Shit! What did you do after you got off stage?
Kept drinking.
Just drinking
Just
away.
kept drinking.
It was all a dream.
Yeah. We could get back to that point since I just lost my job again, so we'll see how dark the comedy gets in the next few weeks. How quickly
shit.
I get a job.
So yeah, let's run with that then and keep it going with like your whole process of coming up with material. And are you a writer? Do you just kind of have an idea and bring it up on stage and run with it that way?
Well, I write by trade. Like that's what I do for work, like copywriting and content strategy and just general bullshitting.
Sounds horribly boring.
I like it. I enjoy it. I mean, like I get to like come up with campaigns and stuff. You know, like someone's like, you know, we need to talk to these people and build up sales here. So I'm like, cool. Here's a crazy creative idea that meets all of your
that's way fun.
needs. That part of it is really cool. Like there is the bullshit, but every job has its bullshit. But I mean, as far as like a creative process, you know, like I run the gamut. You know, I haven't really found like if there's a way that I'm gonna do it for the rest of the time that I do comedy. I don't know. For one of my favorite bits, I have a story about the lacrosse team that I coach, and that one, like I wrote out like verbatim how I would say it if I had to choose how I would say it, and then I did it a couple times. Actually, I did it before I'd ever written it down. I just told the story.
Okay.
And just to gauge like if it could be a joke. Mm-hmm. And it did really well for me having never written it down. So I wrote it out verbatim, told it a couple more times, and then I made it into an outline. And then you can kind of like move things around and mess with little shit. And then it got to a point where, you know how it goes. Like you get so familiar with the piece of material that like you can really just mess with it any way that you want. You don't need like to see it on paper anymore. You know, you can do whatever you want with it. So that's at that point now. There's certain stuff like lemonade, just like Grandma made.
I love that one.
That like I just, you know, I popped a note in my phone about it, and then I remembered it like 6 months later, and I was like, well, fuck it. I don't have anything else to talk about at this open mic. I'll see what happens. And yeah, and then it just kind of happens. So sometimes it's a combination of those two things. Sometimes it's like all writing. Sometimes it's just messing with shit on stage, which I think is the fun part, right? Is like messing with material and trying new stuff.
The process, man.
Once it becomes an act, you know, once you're not doing comedy anymore, once you're doing an act, I can't imagine how that's fun. And I got into that for a little while. Like I got stuck doing the same shit for a really long time.
You get bored with your material.
Bored, yeah. The laughs don't make up for how bored you were.
Nah, I don't know. I think that's
don't
different.
Think so?
I think it's.
I don't know.
It's just perspective, and when you get to that point, at least for me, it's now improving in certain areas.
Sure.
And taking my time with it, and then I'll add a line or two of just some bullshit to add to it. It's not. Yeah. I don't ever want to do the same damn thing every single time, like a script. The jokes are the same. The way I tell it is a lot of the same way, but when it becomes to that point where that's my set that I'm running with now. Yeah. And I'm second nature with it. Mm-hmm. I don't even have to think. I know what's coming next and what I'm saying. That's when I start to just throw in some new shit every once in a while.
But I mean, that's the thing is like when it does turn into a script, because it can.
Mm-hmm.
And then
very quickly.
Audiences pick up on that when they know, like, when you're talking at them. You know, like, because the best shit, I don't mean like, and I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck this means. But people will be like last night when I hosted, and I thought it was I did all right. A lot of people came up to me and they were like, hey, you know, like it was all right, but it was like you were doing an act or you were playing you. Like you weren't actually you. They're like, just be you. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the fuck that means, just be you. But I think that speaks to like someone who can go up there and have like that conversational tone, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like you're talking at the audience, like even though they don't give you anything back besides like a laugh or anything, like it's a conversation, like it's a back and forth. Mm-hmm. And I mean that's one of the hardest things for me starting is like to have that little bit every time I go up on stage and do the same shit that I've done, you know, however many times, is like making people feel like I'm running it through it for the first time with them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I'm stuck in this right now again is finding my voice again, like getting not necessarily comfortable on stage, but comfortable with what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And that I'm not just catering to, and this is going to sound shitty as a comic, but I think as a comic you'll understand, it's not just telling a joke to make people laugh. It's talking and just being funny. Who was the person? Burr said it. Bill Burr said, when you get off stage and they don't know anything about you, you failed. And I thought about it. I'm like, nobody's ever known anything about me. I just go up and tell technical jokes, and I get off stage, and people laugh, say I did great, and I come off stage feeling shitty because I know I didn't do anything I wanted to do. And I was like, I got to start being more personal and just talk about shit that's happened to me. And
see, that's another little level of egotism that you have to have is like, oh, I'm not just going to talk about funny shit. I'm going to talk about me.
Yeah, and
be
people
funny.
are going to care.
Yeah, right? I'm going to talk about me, and you're going to give a shit right now about my life.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's hard for me because I know who I am. I know I'm a 24-year-old piece of shit who hasn't experienced anything. I mean, I'm not a piece of shit, but I'm saying, like, from the perspective of an outsider, like, I'm trying to tell you about my life and my experiences and what I've learned. I haven't learned anything. I haven't done anything. I'm, you know, like, I like to write, and people are like, oh, why don't you write a book? Like, well, because I haven't experienced anything in my life. Like, I have, my biggest hardship was, like, I don't know, I didn't have enough money for toilet paper, so I had to run my ass under the bathtub like a makeshift bidet. That happened once. There were literally no paper products in the house. That's the hardest my life has ever been. And you know what
Go out in the backyard, use a hose, redneck bidet style.
What I learned from that is sometimes you got to sell a little bit of that weed to buy some toilet paper.
So, all right, tell me about what happened last night. You said last night was crazy at the club because you hosted the 9:30 show in the main room.
Yep.
What happened? And I stayed for your set, and then halfway through Sinclair's, I took off.
Yeah. So, you took off halfway. Okay. So, Nate does his thing, and he you know, and
that's why I took off.
Yeah, so, obviously.
I've seen Howard a million times.
Yeah.
I know Jason. I've seen him. So, oh shit! Here we go. Damn it! I always miss the good ones.
You miss some good shit. So, Nate gets off stage, and so when I introduced Nate Sinclair, he used to live here. He lives in Texas now. So I went to introduce Nate. So I introduced Nate, and I was like, "This guy's from Texas." Blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So when he gets off stage, and I'm coming back on to bring up the next guy, I just said, you guys, Nate. Just so you know, Nate's hilarious in Texas. Like, those jokes are hilarious in Texas.
Yeah.
And it started out, like, really slow, and there was, like, a 30-second... I don't know if it was 30 seconds. It was a long time.
Feels like it when you're up on stage.
It was a long time of people fucking dying. And he's like, I didn't know... I was talking to him last night. He's like, I didn't know my set was that bad until you said that, and people were laughing that hard and that fucking long. So he was totally cool with it, right? Uh-huh. Then the next comedian goes on who Robert Zapata brought with him.
Yeah.
Ricky.
Ricky. Yeah.
So Ricky Rick goes on, kind of the same thing as Nate.
Really?
Doesn't do amazingly well. It happens. It's fucking whatever. No,
he had family there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
He gets off, and I was like, so I continued. So when I introduced him, I was like, where are my California people at? This guy's from California, blah, blah, blah. So when he comes off, I was like, you guys, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I don't even know if he's funny in California either. And, same thing. And I could see him in the back, seething.
Oh, shit.
So then I bring Howard on. Holy shit. Yo, Howard, went off on this dude, on Ricky Rick.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Well, he didn't Howard is very particular about what is quote unquote real comedy and what is, not real comedy. And he let it be known immediately. It was very aggressive.
Jesus.
I enjoyed it. I know.
Spectator.
None of the audience did.
Oh no, really?
Dude, it got quiet. It got weird.
Really? So it was just like a one-sided conversation with no response.
Oh yeah.
What was Ricky doing?
In the back, just pissed.
He was?
Oh yeah. And I felt bad. I mean,
you can't control it.
I just, I just try. I felt bad. I just try to sit in the middle. I feel bad because I feel like I set that up a little bit, and I didn't want that.
No.
I'm gonna take the lob if you give it to me. If you underhand a baseball to me, I'm gonna smack it.
But that's a quick host thing. That's what
it's the host's job. Someone doesn't have a great set. You got to keep it up. You wanna have the next guy coming up on a good note, right? So that's literally that's my goal.
Bring the crowd back in.
That's my only goal.
Quick, bring up the next comic, and you did. I mean, that's a technique. That's a skill that you used with both of those comics.
And I hate when people will spend 30, 45 seconds up there, a minute in between comedians. It's like, dude, this part is not about you. Literally, the only reason that you are on stage is to set up the other comics.
Yep.
It's not for you or about you at all if you're hosting.
Yeah.
And that's got to be your mentality, or you break things up.
Uh-huh. The first thing you did when you went up was swear. That's
Are you not? You're not supposed to do that, are you?
No.
Yeah, I fucked up.
I mean, you can. But,
I feel like that's a stupid
it was
rule,
the very first thing. You grab the mic, you're like, fuckers. They're like, what's up, motherfuckers? Or something like that.
Did I say what's up, motherfuckers?
No, I think you're like, you ready to get this shit started, motherfuckers? And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Right off the bat, Richie's throwing bows.
You cunt bitches. Ready to fucking go, ass shit. That didn't even make sense, but I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, you can swear. It's not like there's no rules to it.
I've heard
it's just one of those
heard
things.
that's like one of those unspoken rules.
Yeah.
And this is where like, oh, he's a 24-year-old piece of shit comes in, because I honestly don't give a fuck. I know who's getting up on that stage, and I know what's about to be said. I know Jason Collins isn't like the most vulgar, who's here this weekend. He's not the most vulgar, like, racy guy in the world, but he's not clean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying anything that the people in the crowd aren't going to hear.
Right. You're warming them up to that point.
Yeah. So, whatever. Like if the headliner came to me and was like, I really don't want you to cuss while you're...
Yeah.
Which they probably wouldn't. I don't think that's a thing.
Nah, it is.
I don't think people do. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it just shows you how much I know about comedy.
But it's not... You won't really hear that from the headliner. You hear that from the owner.
Yeah.
The club owner will give you the rules, or the manager.
Which, you know what? I didn't get those list of rules,
Then you're good to
so
go.
I didn't break any.
You know what? I didn't
rules.
one time at a club. They never said don't bring a drink on stage of alcohol.
Yeah.
Never said
Did
it.
you do it?
Yeah, because I was drinking.
Yeah.
And my turn to go up, went up, did my whole set, and killed. Literally, like I wouldn't say just for the fucking sake of the story. I did get off stage. I don't even make it to the back out the door yet to go back to the green room when the manager runs up to me. What the hell are you doing? You won't ever work in this club again? I'm like, what was wrong? Like, you can't bring alcohol on the stage. That's a rule in this club. Well, I'm like, you never gave rules for the club. I mean, it's not like I did it on purpose. If you said don't bring a drink, it's not like, fuck them.
Fuck that guy, dude.
It was a
Fuck
woman.
him. Fuck her.
So,
That's
yeah,
rude.
I'm like, you got to tell the rules. That's your job. That's not mine to figure it out on my own.
That's
you
the
were
thing
fine.
about comedians
You were fine.
is that they're not. A lot of them aren't great business people. for it's funny that for a job that is literally only about communicating, how terrible comedians are at communicating when they're
Because
not
we're so
on a stage.
awkward off stage, dude.
You know, you wonder, like, I wonder, like, when I started and you see all the, you know, so many people that do comedy and, like, the shit they talk about and, like, it's like, wow, these people are kind of fucked up. Like, I'm glad I'm not like them. And 2 years into it, I'm like, fuck, I'm like them. And I just, like, I'm just waiting to see how that fucked upness manifests itself in my life. Like, am I gonna, I don't know. Just waiting to see what direction my life goes that makes me more like
Just be you,
the
bro.
rest of these people.
Just be you.
These crazy.
See, that's what I
SOBs.
wish, and I know, again, for me personally, and I don't mean to keep talking about myself, but I'm narcissistic. It's, I want to be the same person on stage that I am off, and I know I'm not right now.
Yeah,
and that
I
bothers
too.
me.
That's what I mean, and that's what people mean when they're like, just be you, like, just be Richie, like, just be the Richie we know.
Right.
I'm like, well, I'm trying that. I can't, or I would be fucking famous as shit right now.
It's a process, and it's being comfortable. Most of all, it's being comfortable with just bombing your face off for a long time until you figure it out. And I'm not, because I know the tricks to make people laugh. And so the second I try something and it doesn't work, and then I might follow it up
I wanna
again.
Go back to the comfortable feeling.
Yeah, then I'm like, hey, Despicable Me. Yeah, everybody's laughing. Okay.
It's just like, you know, it's a grind, man.
Yeah. All right, so let's we
ways.
got to wrap this up because I got to start getting ready for
Please.
shit tonight. Please. Get me the fuck out of here.
Please. Oh, God.
So, all right, dates that you can see me. I'm in LA June 8th through the 10th. Comedy Store, Laugh Factory, Hollywood Improv, and Flappers. And I'll give exact times and shit. I have no idea. And Rob Mabey and Mike Dapper will be out there with me. They're Phoenix guys. So everybody in LA, come out for those. And then following up on that week, the 13th and 14th, Stand Up Scottsdale in the Taffer'd Room with LaQuasto, Richie, Brian Moses. Definitely come out and check those shows out. And come out the week that this show comes out on the 6th and 7th, right?
Yeah.
Friday the 6th, Saturday the 7th. Get your asses out to those shows, dude, because they're super fun. I swear to God. And it's cool because it is a smaller room and you get more intimate. You're closer to the comic and they do their set and then they have conversations too and it's just cooler. It's a much better vibe feeling.
It's a great time, and I'll tell you, like, when we have a great show, like, it's so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps us going, is like that we have, you know, one of those really, really great shows every once in a while. We just need the audiences to make that the standard, because it really, when it is a good time, it's a great fucking time.
It is a great time in that room, man. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Twitter, Facebook, dates, where you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Richie's Got Jokes. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/DaBigRich. That's DABIGRICH.
It's not DUH.
No. Big Rich. If you're looking for a writer, you want to hire me, check out my portfolio at richiewritesstuff.com.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Would it be sweet if I got a job through your podcast?
Hell yeah, it would.
That'd be fucking dope.
A lot of people listen to this thing. See that little block thing to your left that's on the thing? Not that. That. Read it and answer it, and then we're out of here.
What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? Rob a fucking bank.
This has been another proud production of the Four-Eyed Radio Network. You want to see more shows, go check out www.foureyedradio.com, you winkers.